wilds of Alaska are a vast and untamed frontier.
Alaska is paradise. It's spectacular, but it can also be your worst nightmare.
Amid the rugged wilderness, people vanish at an eerily high rate.
One of the most dangerous elements in Alaska is the human element.
Shut it! In a sleepy suburb just outside Fairbanks, innocent young girls are being snatched from the streets.
We knew we had a serial killer.
Police scramble to stem the tide of bodies and come face to face with the unlikeliest of predators.
This is not the troll from under the bridge. This is the stranger beside you.
Just south of the Arctic Circle lies North Pole, Alaska, a tiny town filled with as much magic as mystery.
The North Pole is a small community, probably 2,500 people, and probably one of the last places on Earth where you'd ever expect anything bad to happen.
It's best known as the place to see Santa and his sleigh take to the skies. But its heavens are also home to the most spectacular natural phenomena known to man: the Northern Lights. Despite all scientific explanation, many native Alaskans believe the lights symbolize something beyond the earthly realm.
Native folklore and legend suggest the Northern Lights represent those who have died a violent death, waving torches inviting those who are forthcoming. And occasionally the Northern Lights are accompanied by a sound, like a crackling sound. That would be the spirit world trying to communicate with those that are on Earth.
But in the summer of 1980, even these heavenly spirits can do little to protect the people of North Pole from an evil not even the bright lights of the aurora borealis can reveal. 11-year-old Doris Oring is riding her bike home from a swimming lesson when she mysteriously disappears.
She was a typical kid, full of life, full of energy, full of love. She played the trumpet, she sang. We had a song that we sang together called Harmony, and we didn't sing it in harmony, but boy did we have fun singing it at the top of our lungs.
At first, police wonder if the little girl might have run away.
We got phone calls asking if she was at our house. But I was asked where she was, if I had seen her, because she had just recently spent the night. Had we talked about her being unhappy? Had we talked about her wanting to run away? You know, all of those types of things. Why? Because she was gone, I didn't register it.
The girl's family and authorities are alarmed. Alaska is a very dangerous place for a child alone.
There are many things that can kill you in Alaska. The weather can kill you. The wildlife is dangerous and has killed many people. You always have to have a heightened sense of awareness in Alaska. You have to be in tune with everything around you.
That afternoon, authorities find Doris's bike hidden in the bushes along Badger Road, some 20 feet off the roadway. There are no footprints and no sign of Doris.
Oh, this was tough. This was a real tough one. I mean, here's an 11-year-old girl abducted off a bicycle on a street in the middle of the day. Rewards went up. We had posters had pictures of Doris all over town, rewards for her return.
A witness later comes forward claiming to have seen a blue vehicle in the same vicinity that day.
Sees a vehicle come shooting out of a dirt road right behind where the bicycle was found, a little dirt trail, blasting out on the highway, and the guy was grappling with something in the seat.
The witness works with a police artist to draw a composite sketch of the suspect. It's distributed to police agencies and news media. Despite massive ground and aerial searches, there's no trace of Doris. And the sketch of her suspected kidnapper generates no leads.
Well, her dad had a business downtown. Once he heard that she was abducted and missing, he just left his business and went home. And as far as I could tell, he never went back. And he spent most of his time staring out the window. I think he had a feeling that she would come back someday.
In an instant, an entire community is held hostage, terrorized by an unknown enemy.
I remember being told that they were like going elbow to elbow through as much of the wooded areas of Badger Road. You're innocent until something like this happens, and then you're no longer really that little innocent little kid. Your whole world is turned upside down.
To make matters worse, this is the second unsolved abduction in North Pole in less than a year. And the first ended in murder. Eight months earlier, a young boy hunting along a creek made the gruesome find: the decomposing body of a young woman.
She was laying on her back, fully clothed. She'd been shot in the head.
Investigators determined the victim had been strangled. But there is no evidence of sexual assault. The only clue, the shell casing of a .38 caliber bullet. Shockingly, clothing and jewelry reveal the most unlikely of victims. The young woman is identified as 19-year-old Glinda Soderman, the daughter of an Alaska state trooper.
She just had been married, just gotten married, and had a baby. I believe she was just as full of life as anybody could ever be.
Glinda's husband, a military man, had reported her missing more than a month earlier.
He's at work. He comes home, the baby's in the crib. Linda's gone. The first thought was that she had just decided to give up the marriage because of a fresh new marriage.
Authorities quickly hone in on Glinda's husband as the most likely killer.
Do you know why you're here?
Yeah.
He was a natural suspect, being the husband. We all learned that from basic 101 and homicide investigation.
Do you know where your wife is?
I always believed that he did it. I think he was getting to where he couldn't control her like he thought he was going to control her.
But Glinda's husband denies any involvement and agrees to take a polygraph. When he fails the test, police are even more suspicious. But they have no solid evidence to tie him to the crime. Her father is heartbroken when his colleagues must release him.
I had to be careful what I said and the way I'd done, because I'd be interfering with the process of investigation.
And I saw him in the office every day. And at some point, he stopped asking me, where are you at with my daughter's homicide? But he would look at me, and I would know what his question was.
Now, troopers are scrambling to find answers for another father, this one missing his 11-year-old daughter. Police have no idea what's going on in North Pole, only that they're powerless to stop it.
We just figured that there could be another one real soon.
In the summer of 1980, there is little to celebrate in the tiny town of North Pole, Alaska. A young woman is dead, and 11-year-old Doris Oring is missing. Then, just 9 months later, another young girl, 16-year-old Wendy Wilson, mysteriously disappears.
Wendy's walking to her boyfriend's house, and the friend decides not to go. The last thing her friend saw was Wendy talking to a man in a truck, and that was the last time that she was seen.
Wendy's body is found 3 days later. Like Glinda Soderman, she has been strangled and shot in the head.
There are similarities. They're lying on their back, they're fully clothed, so it does not appear there was sexual assault at the time. They're shot in the head. They appear to be very similar.
But police cannot ignore the discrepancies. While Wendy Wilson was last seen getting into a white truck, a man had come forward after Doris Oring's abduction, claiming to have seen a blue car in the vicinity. And that isn't all. Doris's older brother, Tom, tells police about a strange encounter he had had with a similar blue car while bicycling with his sister along Badger Road the day before she disappeared.
There was a vehicle parked alongside the road with a hood up, and Doris was in the lead, and the guy at the car stopped her and was talking to her as the brother bicycled up. And as soon as he saw the brother, he waved her on and closed the hood and left. The brother got a description, a vague description of the vehicle and a sort of a passing description of the guy.
Could there be more than one predator? Aside from the composite sketch of the suspect, troopers have little to go on. An initial suspect list includes all males living in the Fairbanks area. Eliminating the very young and the very old, investigators are left with 15,000 possibilities.
It had to be mind-boggling. Where do you even start? 15,000 people in this small area. It had to be like almost every other person that could have been a suspect.
As police scramble for leads, the body of a third woman turns up near Ileson Air Force Base. The victim is identified as 21-year-old Marlene Peters.
Her father is stricken with cancer. He's been having health issues. She lives in Fairbanks, has no other way to get to Anchorage. So the last time she's seen is in Fairbanks, preparing to hitch a ride to get to Anchorage.
Nobody actually saw her get in the vehicle or knew anything else about her. She just disappeared.
Authorities determine Marlene has also been strangled. Her head ravaged by the blast of a 16-gauge shotgun.
We started to see a picture developing. That's when we became a bit panicked at all this. We were having a number of murders in close proximity.
By then it was more than random. A blind man could see the connection.
Even more frightening, the idea that the man behind the string of murders could be the same one who snatched 11-year-old Doris.
That was a radical departure from the behavior that this killer was showing us. He didn't pull over and try and lure her into his truck. But this time, whoever took Doris Oring hid in a little side road and waited for her to ride by, and he grabbed her off that bicycle and sped away.
The abduction of a child, combined with the fact that none of the victims had been sexually assaulted, gives police chilling insight into the mind of a killer.
Sex for this kind of killer is a little different. And that his sex is reliving the power and the manipulation and the control of that victim. That's sort of where his sexual fantasies come from, is his enjoyment of taking total control of that victim and possessing her forever.
Police wonder if little Doris might still be alive, if it's possible someone might be holding her hostage.
All of us were thinking kidnapping, abduction. We were really trying to find her.
But their search is derailed 2 days later, after police learn a fifth young woman has vanished while walking home alone.
I felt that she was another victim. I felt strong about that. Being a small town state trooper, you know, you don't think that there's serial killers in your midst. You know, they're in Atlanta, or they're somewhere, they're in the Green River, or somewhere else. They're not in Fairbanks. But there was one.
Troopers team up with military and civilian volunteers and launch a desperate search, hoping to find the girl before time runs out. At the same time, they review their records, focusing heavily on Doris Oring's abduction. Maybe there is something they missed. Doris's older brother told police he'd seen his sister talking to a man in a blue car the day before she disappeared. He also described the man as having a mustache and a military-style haircut. In the military community of North Pole, that could be just about anyone. But police already know of one person of interest, Glinda Soderman's husband.
Do you understand why you're here?
Yeah.
The military man had long been suspected in the death of the Alaska State Trooper's daughter, and he'd failed one polygraph.
One of the guys come in and said, "Hey, Troop, you think you know who done it?" I said, "I'm not for sure." "Well, just tell us who you think you're not sure of, and we'll make it sure. We'll find out who did it." No, you can't do that. And I knew exactly what they were talking about. They jerk that dude off top of the roof, straighten him out. But I couldn't allow that.
Police ask him to submit to a second polygraph. The test proves inconclusive, but it's not enough for police to hold him. All they can do is keep a close eye on their prime suspect. That September,
Oh my God, what? About 100 yards out.
soldiers hunting rabbits stumble upon the remains of the fifth victim, not far from where the others had been found. She too had been strangled and shot in the head.
Troopers at this point had to be thinking, okay, now what are we dealing with? How many more women are we going to find?
Meanwhile, those living in a place known for the magic of Christmas are thinking cops will need a miracle of their own to stop this madman.
The public was very frightened. There was a lot of fear. And of course, these are the sorts of things that heighten the experience for the killer. He loves that. And he loves having control not only of the victims, total control, but he now has control over the population, at large.
Unable to calculate the next move of the suspected serial killer stalking the tiny community of North Pole, Alaska, state troopers try another tactic. Because the bodies had been found within 10 miles of Ileson Air Force Base, authorities decide to stake out the killer's so-called dumping grounds.
We would spend hours and nights out there waiting to see, looking at any vehicles that came through. if we stayed there long enough and were observant enough, we should be able to catch him. We'd probably catch him after somebody else was dead, but we would catch him.
They believe the suspect may be driving 2 vehicles in an effort to stay under the radar. But they never spot the mysterious blue car or the white truck. They're further frustrated by the overwhelming number of leads.
Back then, words like upload, download, database were foreign words to us. You can't just hit enter and or highlight something or click on a few things back then. There's nothing to click on. It's memory from each of the investigators.
But memory alone won't cut it. Trooper Sam Bernard flies to Georgia to study police procedure in the massive manhunt and capture of the killer of more than 24 black youths, what would eventually become known as the Atlanta child murders. He comes home armed with a new computerized method of collecting leads.
We had to make a computer. In Anchorage, they built one. The thing was about as big as this room. We had to hire a bunch of data input ladies that sit and typed all day long and put that stuff in.
It was daunting, but you're in the middle of battle, basically, and there's no looking back. If you run out of things to do, go back and do what you did before, take another look at it. Redo everything. You'll uncover leads that you didn't have before. You'll get a better picture, perhaps. But we were inundated.
The new technology allows local, state, and military agencies to share their information. Ultimately, an area-wide homicide task force is formed. But greater manpower makes no difference.
We weren't getting anywhere. Psychics were coming out of the woodwork. We had a psychic tell us, I think that you're going to find her body somewhere where there's trees and water. Well, that's all of Alaska.
Stonewalled and desperate to find out what happened to 11-year-old Doris Oring, investigators turned to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for help. Serial killers ply their trade for a myriad of reasons. Psychological profilers try to understand and classify these deadly predators. At the time of the North Pole murders, profiling is just coming of age. Based on troopers' descriptions of the murders, profilers surmise the killer is probably a civilian who lives alone and has a hard time holding a job. In the 80s, the Bureau's psychological profiles had proven 85% successful. Their profile of the Atlanta child murderer was right on target. Alaska State Troopers feel they finally have something to work with.
It's not a photograph. Absolutely not. It's not a fingerprint. You can't say someone's innocent because they're military and the profile says they are likely to be civilian, or white versus black. You have to be open-minded, and these arrows that point to a serial murderer are always subtle.
Eager to put any doubts to rest, investigators asked the prime suspect, Glinda Soderman's husband, to submit to a third polygraph. This time, an expert performs the test.
I took him in a room, and 5-10 minutes later, he comes back out and he says, this guy's got a heart murmur, a random heart murmur. He'll fail a polygraph test or show any conclusions all the time.
Authorities are stumped. They're further perplexed when the killings, which seem to be accelerating, suddenly stop.
We know that a serial murderer really does not stop. He is either dead, incarcerated, hospitalized, or just moved away. So then we have to start looking at the rest of the nation, and that's what we did.
Although the FBI profile suggests the killer is a civilian, investigators can't overlook the fact that the victims have all been found within 10 miles of Ileson Air Force Base. And the eyewitnesses in Doris Oring's abduction noted the suspect's military-style haircut. Troopers extend their search of suspects to include military personnel.
A civilian could move in and out of Fairbanks and nobody would never be able to track them, time and date. It would be very difficult. But the military was trackable. They keep a record of who's coming and going, what the day they leave and the day they show.
Troopers ask Ileson's security police for a list of vehicles matching the descriptions of the blue car believed to have been used in Doris Oring's abduction and the white truck Wendy Wilson was last seen in. The Air Force comes back with a list of 550 names and license plates of similar vehicles registered to drive on base. The investigative team also asks the Air Force for a list of all military personnel who had transferred from Ileson after the discovery of the 5th victim in September 1981.
We wanted the military to look at people of interest, people on their bases that may have had some problem that came to their attention for whatever reason.
And they request the assistance of police agencies near Air Force installations anywhere in the world.
We put out this bulletin to all the law enforcement agencies around these Air Force bases. If you have a homicide that meets this description, woman fully clothed, shot in the head along the road, let us know.
In November 1982, more than a year after the last killing in Alaska, troopers receive a disturbing call from North Texas. A young woman has been found dead, murdered in an eerily similar fashion. Trooper Bernard races nearly 4,000 miles to the Lone Star State.
I thought I'd been time warped back to the 1800s when I went into the sheriff's office in Henrietta, Texas. I walked in the office and the sheriff's got his cowboy boots on and his pistol and his hat and his feet up on the table, just like on TV. I'm thinking, this can't be, they can't still be doing this here.
Shockingly, Texas authorities tell Trooper Bernard they already have the killer in custody.
Unsolved cases? We don't have any unsolved cases in my county, boy.
So well, how do you get him? Well, we heard that this girl knew a guy in Dallas who knew a guy who was a meth dealer. And the meth dealer blew himself up in a trailer house doing a meth lab thing. So we figured he did it. So he's dead, case is closed. I was amazed.
Still, Alaska state troopers can't help but believe their serial killer is alive and well, and actively on the hunt for victims in the rugged plains of Texas.
They fit in anywhere. They are literally the stranger beside you. They're one of us, but behind their eyes is the greatest of all evil.
Alaska state troopers fear the North Pole serial killer is now on the prowl in Texas, while they attempt to gain more information about a similar murder down south. The Air Force comes forward with a list of all military personnel who had transferred from Ileson. One name immediately jumps out: Thomas Richard Bundy. Records indicate Bundy is a technical sergeant who transferred to Shepherd Air Force Base near Wichita Falls, Texas, shortly after the murder of the 5th victim in Alaska. Police are surprised to find Bundy owns both a blue car and a white truck.
He had been of interest to military Ileson Air Force Police for the fact that there were complaints within their own system.
That's the way I like a woman.
That he would say inappropriate sexual remarks to women.
But there's one thing that doesn't add up. The FBI suggested the killer was a single unemployed civilian. Bundy is a dedicated military man and a married father of 2. Trooper Sam Bernard returns to Texas. Bundy's eager to answer questions, but refuses to take a lie detector test or give a DNA sample.
My mind is on fire. Nobody, all the people we talked to, ever said no. An innocent person who had nothing to hide shouldn't say no.
Unable to press forward without a warrant, Trooper Bernard returns to Alaska. At the same time, other investigators seek the help of a critical eyewitness, Doris Oring's older brother, Tom. He had seen his sister talking to a man in a blue car the day before she disappeared, a man he described as having a military-style haircut. Tom is shown a photographic lineup that includes Richard Bundy. He immediately picks him out. He also recognizes Bundy's blue car.
We knew we had him. We knew it was our guy. And then we just went into the plan of how we were going to get him.
On March 7th, 1983, nearly 3 years after Doris vanished, troopers Chris Stockard and Jim McCann fly to Texas to again question Richard Bundy. They set up shop in a motel room and talk to him for hours, for several days in a row.
They have this kind of bogus stakeout room so that Bundy feels like they've been on to him and they know a lot more about the case. He keeps coming back. He's actually early for each appointment, willing to talk. They just really didn't know what they were going to get from him.
We're talking about everything but murder or anything about our case. And that's the first test. An innocent person would come to that room and say, "What do you want? What are we talking about here? Why am I here tonight?" Not Thomas Richard Bundy. He said nothing. He listened, and I spoke. We were convincing him for days. He just sat there. We talked for 3 hours every day. He listened, and he listened, and he listened.
Troopers are baffled by Bundy's odd behavior. He won't deny the crimes, but he refuses to confess. Troopers know if he's playing a game, they will have to outwit him to win. Each time they meet, authorities record their conversations.
Because of the poor technology we had at the time, we were cut off at about 3 hours. We had to cut him loose every time we talked to him, after about 3 hours. He'd go away. My partner and I would look at each other and say, "Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he's our killer. Now it's up to us to get him to confess to that."
After a week of interrogation, Bundy again shows up at the motel.
"Rich, good to see you. Come on in." I opened the door, and he wouldn't look me in the eye. Now, of course, going through my mind and Chris's mind every night is that we're unarmed, and that this guy, now that he knows we're onto him, he could do something funny. And he started to reach for his pocket. "Come on in, Rich, let's talk." It was basically his only denial. It was, "Dear Jim and Chris, I've really enjoyed talking to you guys these past few days. I kind of like you guys," or words to that effect. "But you say I did these things, and I didn't. Rich." Well, it wasn't the confession we wanted. It did knock us back a little bit, but not much. And we looked at that and said, that's about as weak a denial as you could ever get in a case of whether somebody stole an ice cream cone, not 5 murders.
Now certain they're closing in on the truth, the troopers obtain a search warrant. Knowing serial killers often rely on souvenirs or trinkets taken from the victim to relive their killings, investigators spend more than 12 hours combing through Bundy's home and vehicles. The whole time, Richard Bundy is by their side. Authorities come away with bags of material, including ammunition similar to the type used in the killings, and newspaper clippings about the crimes.
I opened the one box, and right on the top, facing me,
"Rich, come here,"
was a headline, "FBI profile says." And I said, "Rich, what the hell is this?" "Oh, I know that's just a souvenir." And he laughed, and he said, "I don't mean that. I mean, I took that from Fairbanks when I left. I just stuck it in there to remind me of Fairbanks."
Despite mounting suspicions, troopers' hands are tied. They can't take him into custody without first obtaining an arrest warrant from Alaska.
Every night was nerve-wracking, stressful beyond belief. Every night, Chris and I lay in our beds in that hotel room and we're just like, what is he doing tonight? It's scary to think that, is he out prowling and going to kill another?
Hours after searching the home of suspected serial murderer Richard Bundy, Alaska State Troopers get an unexpected phone call. Bundy tells police he can't find his car keys, and he thinks officers might have accidentally picked them up while collecting evidence.
I said, look, man, I'm naked as a jaybird. I just got out of the shower. Let me get dressed, I'll bring him back up. He said, no, don't worry about it, Jim. I'm coming to see you tomorrow morning, right? Yeah, you bet. I said, okay, well, I'll have the keys here for you at 0900.
But Trooper McCann senses Bundy has more on his mind than his keys. He tries a different approach, pressing in on the suspect about the string of murders in Alaska. McCann tries to trip Bundy up by including a sixth kill he knows he did not commit.
I took that moment with the relationship that we had developed, and I said, Rich, you know, this thing's been going on a long time. It's not gonna go away. It's not a matter of who did it. It's a matter of why it happened. And it's not all of them, is it? And he said, yeah, it wasn't all of them.
Trooper McCann has finally gotten Bundy to crack. Now he needs hard evidence linking him to the murders. The trooper asks Bundy to meet at their Texas motel the following morning.
Rich, come on in.
Surprisingly, the suspect shows up and finally comes clean about the killings.
I used Doris to sort of get him going. Really interested in where Doris is. Her family wants to have her body back. They'd like to pray over her body. They want her back. Where is she? And he cried. Didn't cry about anybody else, but he cried about that child.
His confession is a bit vague, but he knows enough about the murders to convince investigators he's their man, despite the FBI profile.
Who would expect a man who had a wife and 2 children, been in the military for 15 years, who would expect him to be a serial murderer killing young girls? Nobody can call that.
Oddly enough, even Bundy can't say why he committed the crimes, only that he was having problems with girls while in Alaska. Investigators delve into his past and find his predatory nature may have stemmed from his upbringing.
One of his siblings, his brother, said that as a boy he was beaten by his father, the parents had a tumultuous relationship, and that his father died before Richard could actually prove himself to his father. So who knows? Who knows what led to all of this, but it seems to be the root of the family issues in his early childhood.
Infidelity in Bundy's own marriage while he was stationed in Southeast Asia may have also contributed to his deviant behavior.
After being married 16 years, Richard was off in Asia. He was based there, admits to having an affair, and then his wife in turn has an affair, and there's a child as a result.
Investigators theorize that Bundy had some doubts about his daughter's paternity, and that may explain why he preyed upon a child the same age.
I can only guess as to why he did that from all the parts and pieces, my own intuitions. My guess is maybe he thought that that female child was not his, and somehow in his perverted mind took that out on Doris Oring.
Bundy agrees to go back to Fairbanks with investigators and promises to lead them to Doris's remains. There's just one problem. Troopers have no power to arrest him outside of Alaska.
There's a plane change in Seattle. What if he changes his mind? If he wants to go off to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or go visit Disneyland or whatever, I have no power to arrest him.
The governor of Alaska offers police a private Lear jet to bring the suspect home.
We're going to come home to Alaska victorious. We proved them all wrong. But we were right. He did do it. We got him to confess.
Troopers arranged to take Bundy into custody the following day. But the next morning, he fails to show up as promised. It's the first time he's let investigators down.
The day was ominous. There was tornado watches, storms. At 11 o'clock in the morning, it turned black. Lightning, wind, and then silence. It was eerie, and Chris and I didn't even really talk. We were scared to death that he's out killing.
The troopers contact police conducting surveillance at Bundy's home, only to find he's apparently slipped past surveillance on his motorcycle.
The hours went by, and at about 1:45 that afternoon, just pacing about, and the phone rang, finally. Broke the silence of the day. The both of us kind of looked at that phone, and it just rang. And I finally went over and picked up the phone.
McCann's not prepared for what he's about to hear.
Chris looked and he said, "What?" I said, "He's dead. He's dead."
Troopers learned Bundy first dropped his taxes off at an H&R Block accounting office, then rode some 40 miles north of town before turning around. He then floored his motorcycle, driving over 100 miles per hour. Suddenly, he crossed the center line and slammed into a truck.
He ended it all that day. The truck driver said, "I tried to get away from that guy. I saw him coming over in my lane. I got down off the shoulder, but he hit me right smack dab in the front wheel and the engine, and it just blew him up."
He got what he deserved. I mean, a killer like that needs to be killed. But it'd been nice if he was to give us a little more information.
Hours after Bundy's death, investigators question his wife. They are stunned by her odd admissions.
She did say that he had shared with her the search warrant that we left behind. She read all the affidavits. She knew all of the things we suspected of what her husband had done. And she said, "I didn't say anything to him until that night we were in bed."
I asked him if he did it.
And?
He said no.
"Did you do it?" "No." No confrontation, no nothing. But he did do it. He did it at least 5 times.
And shockingly, his wife may have helped hide his exploits. She told officers she'd uncovered a disturbing find years earlier.
She went through his sock and underwear drawer, a place where she's not allowed to go. That was his little hiding place, and he had a large manila envelope, and she decided to open it. Inside, all she could describe was that they were photographs, basically surveillance photographs, all of girls.
Months later, investigators obtained definitive proof they'd caught the right man. Hairs found in Bundy's pickup truck are genetically linked to Wendy Wilson, and shotgun shells found in his home match those found at 2 of the crime scenes. In August 1986, 3 years after Bundy's death, and just months after Doris Oring would have graduated high school, her skull is found in a remote section of Ileson Air Force Base.
For me, it was like reopening the wounds. It was like all of those memories, all of those emotions come flooding back. You lose her again. How many times do you have to lose someone before they're truly gone?
I blame myself a lot of years for her being taken because of the fact that I wasn't home that day after swimming class. That maybe if I were home, it would have deterred her for a few minutes and he wouldn't have had his chance to take her.
Bundy told police he strangled the young girl at one of his favorite killing spots and then drove onto the base with her body in the trunk. He dumped the body in a remote area near the building in which he worked. It was later learned that his job with the Air Force allowed him to set up cameras from which he could view his dump site and relive his sadistic behavior.
We never did prove for a fact that he was watching that crime scene area over those remote cameras, but I'm sure he was, and reliving the enactment of that crime, and possibly watching us as we did our crime scene investigation.
Alaska state troopers are convinced Bundy is responsible for the 5 murders in Alaska and the one in North Texas. They believe he denied the Texas murder to avoid the death penalty before opting instead to kill himself. Interestingly enough, Bundy seemed aware of what may have been the root cause of his deviant sexual nature. He sought marital counseling from a military psychologist while in Fairbanks. Records show he visited Captain Clarence Williams a half-dozen times. In an ironic twist, Captain Williams was later convicted of hiring a hitman to kill his wife by shooting her in the face with a shotgun in November 1980, at the very height of the North Pole murders.
You couldn't write a better murder mystery. Here is this man, Richard Bundy, who goes to the military psychologist to talk about his troubled marriage. And then you have his psychologist, who turns out hired a hitman to kill his own wife. Not to just kill his own wife, but to do it in the same manner as the serial killings, so it would look like it was just another serial killing.
Even Williams was clueless to the killer. He had no idea his patient, Thomas Richard Bundy, was the man behind the string of deadly abductions.
This is not the troll from under the bridge. This is the stranger beside you. This is a guy that doesn't seem threatening at all. No one knows what evil is behind his eyes. Just one of us.